This episode and the entire year of episodes is proudly brought to you by California Cryobank. Use code QueerFam25 for a free level 2 subscription to their donor catalog. Just make the babies and then come talk to me about them because that's what I love to do. So keep my job going. Thank you.
Love is love on the Queer Family Podcast. Love is love.
I think the thing that journalists always leave out is after the extremists left, I went back and the kids in the family were still there. And I finished the reading.
Oh.
And I kind of had a word with them and was just like, don't let the haters bring you down. Like, keep coming out. It felt important for me to close the loop like that. And for them to not see that we should cower in the face of violence and just let that stand.
Welcome, y'all, to the Queer Family Podcast, the show all about family, but with gay. I am your host, Jaimie, and this is the show that highlights, celebrates, uplifts, and normalizes LGBTQ families in all of our beautiful identities. And of course, we are in the midst of our Pride Extravaganza. Double the episodes the entire month of June, our beloved Pride Month, the best month of the year. Second only to all of the holidays where my children get presents in our house or chocolate. But it is a big deal and we love Pride. And that's why this is the third annual Pride Extravaganza, full of amazing, beautiful, beautiful guests and stories. And this episode is no exception to that. I got to sit down with Casey Chu, aka Panda Dulce. Kyle is a drag performer who does drag story hours, among a million other things. Kyle is also a filmmaker and an author. And we talk about all the things that Kyle has created to help our beautiful community thrive and to help young people find who they are and accept who they are and love themselves, no matter what their identity is. It's a great episode. I can't wait to share it with you, and I can't wait to share the resources that Kyle has created for us. They're all so important. I also really, really loved this speaking with Kyle because we talk a lot in this episode about queer joy and the importance of queer joy and the importance of having a positive queer imagination to imagine the world a better place for everybody, really, and how important that is. And I'm on the heels of, I feel like in my personal life, I'm fighting every day. I'm constantly fighting, and it is exhausting. I'm fighting my wife's cancer. We're fighting that together. I am fighting my son's intestinal issues that he's having. I'm fighting my daughter growing up. I am fighting with my school board with this anti-trans crap. I feel like I'm just always in a fight with someone trying to make this world a better place. And it was refreshing to sit down with somebody who has faced some serious adversity, talk about queer joy and the importance of cultivating it and how important it is to hear uplifting stories and how important it is to hear real stories about queer people who not only overcome adversity, but who also just love life. So if that's not a good Pride story, I don't know what is. Y'all better be enjoying life, especially this month, because it's our month. And it's an important lesson. So I hope you enjoy this conversation, and I hope you go out there and buy Kyle's book and read it, because I plan on doing that as soon as I'm done recording this intro, and I'm not even kidding. And I do have to apologize. My dog showed up in the middle of our interview and made all kinds of noise. So I don't know how much magic my editor, Jerson, is going to do with that, but you might hear crazy Kira from time to time as well. This is real life, folks. Real life. All right. It is time to roll this tape. Let's go, Helen and Beulah, my beautiful fake assistants. Let's roll this tape. Let's hear Kyle's story. Here we go. Roll the tape.
Queer Family Podcast. Love is love.
Hi, Kyle.
Hello.
For all of you at home, Kyle and I have already been shooting the shit. We have been talking like crazy because we are both born and raised San Franciscans, and that is so very rare.
It is, darling. And also your best friend is from Glen Park, where I'm from.
Exactly. Like, we have so many things in common except our age. So we don't.
Well, we're both young at heart.
Yes, we are. But we weren't in our schools at the exact same time, but we each know each other's schools and we each know each other's neighborhoods. And it's amazing. And I love it so much. And I'm sure we have community that somehow our paths cross. I know it.
It's the San Franciscan way. It's how we do.
Oh my God. Say hi to my city. You know what we're going to do, Kyle? Just so the listeners have a good idea of who you are and why you're here talking to the Queer Fam Squad. I'm going to time you. It's time for your 30-second elevator pitch. Don't get nervous. Yeah, don't worry. Here we go. On your mark, get set, go.
Hello, my name is Kyle Casey Chu, aka Panda Dulce the Drag Queen. I am a writer, filmmaker, and one of the founders of Drag Story Hour. And I have a debut middle grade book coming out. Oh my gosh. No, I already messed up. It's already out. It's called The Queen Bees of Tybee County. And it's about a Chinese-American basketball star, Derek Chan, who explores his queer identity and love of drag via Southern pageant culture. And I also have a short film called After What Happened at the Library, which covers the viral hate crime that I experienced in its direct aftermath. And it's in festivals now.
Boom. Whoa, Kyle, you packed it in. Good job. You're doing a lot of things, Kyle.
It's true.
You have a lot of plates in the air, I might say, which is amazing. And you're using your art for change, which I absolutely freaking love. And I think it's so important. And I know that you talk a lot about queer joy and the power of queer joy. And I full-heartedly agree with you on the power of queer joy and how it can transform everything.
Truly.
You know what, Kyle? I didn't say we were going to do this, but I want to know about young Kyle and young Kyle's path to finding out young Kyle's true, your coming out story, or however you want to call it. If we could, can we take it back to little Kyle in Glen Park, San Francisco?
Yeah. So where do we start with this? So I was born and raised alongside my autistic twin brother, Kevin. Oh. And he was in need of a lot of services, speech therapy. He went to a rec center for people with disabilities. And so I often found myself in my own world. I was reading a lot. I was watching TV a lot. I was, inventing worlds in the backyard. I kind of found a way to escape into film and into music and into art as a way for it to kind of hold me at a time when I was often unsupervised. And so come middle school, I was a little all over the place. I loved theater and film and instrumental music, and I wanted to be on the stage. And when I came out, I swiftly lost my friends. It was an earth-shattering moment for my social world. And what ended up catching me was a community of creatives and learning to engage with all the freaky artists of the playground. And that kind of became my path. And I knew I wanted to go to an art school. I knew I wanted to do art for the rest of my life. My Chinese American parents were thrilled about that I didn't want to become a doctor or lawyer.
I'm sure.
I had to kind of forge ahead with that path. And it looks like it's working out, thankfully.
So can we go into how your family took your coming out?
Yeah, of course. So it's interesting because my parents have a lot of queer friends. Our babysitters growing up were Karen and Karen, which it's so queer that they had the same name. There were two lesbians who rode motorcycles, and they were educators and really into sci-fi and social justice. And it profoundly shaped my imagination and who I was. Like, they had a sense of humor that I couldn't describe at the time, but was so irreverent and hilarious to me. And I realized it's because I'm queer and they had this queer humor,
That's amazing.
I couldn't get enough of it. And when I came out really early in the 7th grade. And I mean, nowadays, not considered an early bloomer from all of the middle graders I've talked to. But at the time, I was one of the only out kids. And the first words from your parents upon coming out are always clumsy. It's never perfect. And so the first thing my dad said was, your life is going to be harder and I'm worried for you. And the first thing my mom said was, I guess that's the end of our family. Like, we're not going to have a kid.
Kids, yeah. Which we know on this show is not true.
It is not true. And so I don't want to freeze my parents in that moment because they were taking a lot in. And, we're imperfect people, right?
Yeah.
But they've since grown into embracing me. Like, looking back, I was so upset at those words. And now as an adult, I see in my immigrant father's words worry. And it's coming from a place of protection, fierce protection, of saying, you know, I want my child to have a good life. And I see this as possibly upsetting that. And his first concern was like, will my child be happy? And then from my mom, I think she was experiencing a lot of pressure from my grandpa to kind of deliver on certain things with the family. There was a lot of pressure on us to perform in many ways, like academically, life milestones. And so she was speaking from that place. But it took a little bit of time. And now she comes to my drag shows and she asks for makeup tips. And we've really arrived at a great place.
Oh, I love that. Yay. Go mom.
I know.
Dad. Go parents. Too. That's amazing. Awesome.
Come on, growth. Yeah.
Come on, growth. Okay, so let's fast forward now to you started Drag Story Hour, right? So do you want to go into like what that was and then let's go into what ended up happening and
Totally. So Michelle T is the founder of Drag Story Hour. It started around 2015 because she is, for people who don't know, Michelle T is a prolific feminist lesbian writer who had a kid and realized that spaces she was accessing didn't have a lot of queer representation or representation of just like queer role models for her kids. And so she thought, why not bring drag queens to queer spaces or to youth spaces? And so I was one of the first queens to pilot this program in San Francisco. It happened at Eureka Valley Library on Jose Sarria Court. Oh, do you know this place?
Oh my God, of course I know this. I practiced musical theater at the Eureka Valley Park and Rec.
Oh, I love that.
How funny. Oh God. Sorry, listeners. This is going to happen the whole time.
Just points of connection. Like, and I was on that street corner too.
Yeah,
and that little girl was me.
Oh my God. I took that bus. I took the 24.
Exactly. Exactly. As if it's like a little village and we all have these touch points and it's beautiful. Okay. Yeah. So piloted the program. And the reason I got into it is because I have a social work background and I really wanted to work with queer youth. And I couldn't find the right opportunity that would allow me to stay in San Francisco at the time. This was at the height of the tech boom. And this was a way for me to still access youth work and also stay in the city that I loved.
What was it, like monetary? It was too hard to stay or?
It was monetary mostly. Like I had loans and I needed to forge a different path. And so it's interesting. I always say this, but I think it's so important, especially in today's political climate, but, you know, more universally, just in general, like queer and trans teachers often have this quandary in their classroom of whether or not they should disclose their identities and whether or not it is appropriate to do so. Is it enriching to do so? Is it potentially divisive, not only to the kids, but to the parents?
Yep.
And for Drag Story Hour, they said, fuck that. Like, bring your entire self.
It's amazing.
Like, why not bring your drag self? And I loved that philosophy. It just totally scrapped that question. And so that's what drew me to the work.
And you had been performing in drag for a while at this point, or how'd you get into drag?
Yeah, so I'd always done drag, I guess. As a kid, I had this little like, makeup book. Yes, come on, musical theater. I had this little makeup book that had, you know, baby's first palette of clay makeup. And I would just carry it around and just do it all the time. And in high school, I threw on a lip and eyeliner and a shake and go wig and was like, I'm a woman. But I didn't start doing it super seriously until 2017 after I came out of grad school. And around that same time, Michelle T was looking for drag queens with youth work experience. And so I was like, that's me. And yeah, that's how I got into that.
Interesting. It's really... I love that she was looking for drag queens with youth experience. Like for all the bigots who try to say that drag queens are out there to hurt our children, it's ridiculous. These are vetted positions, right? Like you know what you're doing and you probably have a background check behind you as well because you work with youth, right? So absolutely.
Like I spent most of my adult life, maybe 10 years in education and social work. I was a special education teacher. I was a K-5 Spanish immersion teacher. I was a camp counselor. and a social worker, a case manager. And all of these required extensive background checks and probably more qualifications than any of those Instagram trolls would ever dream of having.
Exactly. So just to throw that little nugget out there for all the haters. I don't think there are any haters who tune into this show, but still,
but still, it's worth saying. Yeah.
Okay, so you got connected with Drag Story Hour, and I'm assuming things took off, things were great, and then something happened, and they weren't so great.
Right.
What happened?
I was invited to a drag story hour at San Lorenzo Public Library in 2022. It was a little bit out of the way in the East Bay, but the librarian was very adamant about having programming there because there was such a lack of queer representation in the programming. Mm-hmm. And so I came, and it was stormed by the Proud Boys.
That's so scary.
Yeah, so they charged in with cameras blazing. They called me a tranny, a groomer, and an it. I had to retreat to a back room and lock myself in there. And they circled the building. They were accosting all of the attendees, parents and kids, who were reasonably freaked out. One of them wore a shirt that said "Kill your local pedophile" on it with the picture of an AK-47. And they all called me a pedophile. And so, I don't know. So I had to retreat to a back room. I locked myself back there. They circled the building. I had to shut the doors. And then when the authorities came, they totally let them off the hook, didn't get any names or anything like that. What? And I could hear them like laughing together, which might be surprising, but I'm not surprised. I don't know.
It's sad that it's not surprising. It's sad. And also, you just always have hope that maybe they're going to be good people.
Yeah, that's what happened. And then I posted about it, and KQED covered it, and it became viral news. And it was kind of the spearhead of the far right's 2022 anti-drag movement.
That's so fucked up. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that happened. You must have been so scared.
Yeah, it was really scary.
And then the families that were there were children. Not okay. Not okay.
But I think the thing that journalists always leave out is after the extremists left, I went back and the kids and the families were still there. And I finished the reading. Oh. And I kind of had a word with them and was just like, don't let the haters bring you down. Like, keep coming out. It felt important for me to close the loop like that. And for them to not see that we should cower in the face of violence and just let that stand. But I think it's important to note that the authorities said after the media circus kind of descended, they said, oh yeah, we're investigating this as a hate crime, da-da-da. And then after it left, no action was taken. And they didn't even file a crime report.
Oh my God.
So I think it was in this context of quiet injustice and just, saving face for them and then just not lifting a finger that I wanted to make this film that I made called After What Happened at the Library, which is just about the aftermath of it. And it was the only way I saw any sort of resolution on my own terms.
Yeah, you created the healing you needed with your art, right? I mean, that speaks to me on so many levels. I created this podcast because I needed healing from my family building journey, right? We're so good as queer folks at figuring out what we need to do in order to create the healing, because the world is not going to do it for us, unfortunately. Right. And we know that, and we see it time and time again.
Right.
The injustices that happen, the lack of understanding that happens, forces us to figure it out for ourselves.
We don't have the benefit of systems being created for us and to suit our needs. And so we have to craft this ourselves by hand and heart.
It's infuriating, and also it's what we're resilient as fuck and good for us, and we're better than everybody else. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Truly,
hearing this story, I'm on the heels of there's stuff going on with my kids' school district in New York City. My kids' school is in Chelsea, so like heart of the gay rights civil movement, and the school board, which is parents, has been trying to basically go back on the open and inclusive gender policy that the DOE has already adopted. So the school board is trying to like say that trans girls shouldn't play sports and we need to have conversations about this and all this stuff. I've been protesting and I've been an activist at all these meetings like for the past 2 years. And I was just at a meeting last night. And one of the main culprits of this anti-trans thing that's happening was filming a documentary. I guess it's about her. And it was like this far right camera crew who was filming her, but also filming all of us in the room.
Without
and there's
consent.
so many. Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely.
And you're just making it just like, it's infuriating that these people think they have the right to violate us. Like we're showing up because this is human rights. This is civil rights. And you're coming in here and putting cameras in our faces and trying to humiliate us. And it's getting worse, right? So it's stories like yours and films like yours that are really, really important to show the world what is actually happening here. We're going backwards in so many ways. This is supposed to be uplifting, but I'm so pissed off right now.
I mean, rightfully so. I see it as a form of intimidation and dehumanization that just kind of adds fuel to this flaming distraction, because all that it turns us into is political footballs in the grand scheme of things. Like a trans girl playing soccer, which, by the way, statistically, like maybe less than 10 in the US.
Come on, have you met a trans 8-year-old? Like, I don't know.
Well,
guys.
No, I think that's the issue.
That's the problem.
Is that they've spun such an elaborate monster out of nothing. And it's all to distract against Medicare being cut. And this isn't going to change or move the needle on the price of your eggs at all. I don't know. It's just so obviously like distraction tactics because Republican policies are wildly unpopular.
And fear-mongering.
It's what gets clicks. And it's like, it's the motor that drives Fox News and all of these outlets.
Yeah.
They're going to seize on it.
Good on you for creating something positive out of it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We'll be right back.
Queer Family Podcast.
Excuse me just 1 second. I want to interrupt to tell you my promo code for California Cryobank that's going to get you a free level 2 subscription to their donor catalog. You're just going to go to cryobank.com. You're going to use code QueerFam25. That's QUEERFAM 25, like 2025. And you're going to be able to look through their entire donor catalog and start making your queer baby making journey. If donor sperm is the path you're choosing to take, like I did, California Cryobank is a wonderful, wonderful option. They offer so many wonderful things for the queer community, and they have been serving the LGBTQ community for 45 years and counting. They also, I'll have you know, because I called them many times while I was making my babies, have a wonderful staff who will answer your phone calls and answer all of your questions. And trust me, I asked a lot of questions. And I am so very happy with the family I have made through the help of California Cryobank, and I think you will be too. So if you're looking to start that queer family building journey, or if you just want to see what's out there and what your options are, this is a wonderful way to find out. Just go to cryobank.com, use code QueerFam25, and you're going to get a free level 2 subscription to their donor catalog. That code can also be used towards a discount on a level 3 subscription, which gives you even more information about the donors. So go over there, do that, start planning your families, and then once it's all done, come tell me about them. Okay, let's get back to Kyle.
Love is love.
After you had this experience, you made the film, then you decided you want to write a book.
Yeah, it's funny. So we shot the film, and we shot it on location at San Lorenzo, in collaboration with the librarians, some of which were present. And then it was in what is probably the worst year of my life. Just a lot happened, like the hate crime included, that I was greenlit for this book, and it's all about queer joy and hope. And I was like, how ironic. In the darkest moment of my life, I have to scrounge up some shred of hope and, talk to kids about it. I returned to what was one of the darkest moments of my life too, in middle school, coming out and losing my friends and contending with coming to terms with my Chinese American identity in the playground and coming to terms with my queer identity And I really had to meditate on what helped me get through that. And at the end of the day, it was having adult figures who were there for me. It was the English teacher who encouraged me to read books that reflected my experience. It was finding one or two friends that really saw me and cared for me. And that's all you need is just one friend who really gets it. And it was pouring myself into the creative arts and what kind of fueled my joy and brightened the light at the end of the tunnel. And so that is the magical trifecta and the moral of the story in terms of what to reach for at that age for me.
So tell us about the book.
So the book is called The Queen Bees of Tybee County, and it follows a 7th grade basketball champ, Derek Chan, who is unceremoniously shipped off to his grandma's in rural Georgia.
Oh.
And she is volunteering for a junior pageant. And so through this pageant, he explores his queer identity, his love of drag, and contemporary Southern pageant culture.
Interesting.
Yeah. And, you know, it's like, I love pageant stories because it's all about letting your true self shine.
Yeah, yeah.
And the theatrics of it all. You did musical theater. You get it.
Oh, trust me. I get it. I get it.
I don't know. The reason why I wanted to explore this is because in middle school, I feel like a lot of kids, in terms of development, social cohesion and acceptance is like a top survival need. And so everyone feels the need to totally conform to their peer groups.
Yeah.
They don't want to speak out or say something unpopular. That could be, you know, earth shattering for them. And a lot of people also find something, they latch onto it and they're like, this is who I am. And so for Derek, that's basketball. And for me, that was like music. But he realizes that he has an identity that he sees as perhaps contradictory. And through his journey, he learns the both and of it all, where he can be queer and he can be a pageant queen. And I think this is an important thinking that we should introduce to kids.
I agree. I have a middle schooler right now. And I'll tell you what, this is hard.
Yeah.
She's in 6th grade and wow, the social aspect of everything is all consuming. And I think you are so correct that we need books like this that explore this idea and more books. We need more than just yours.
Yes.
Because these children are, you know, I remember what it was like being that age. It was awful, right? And they're just flailing and they have all this technology at their fingertips and they don't really know what they're doing. And we need a good book that like brings us back to basics and reminds us to go within and listen to ourselves more.
Truly. And, you know, it's also interesting because middle school is the age where they transition from social cohesion and acceptance above all else to developing their own moral compass. And so imagine there's like a group of boys and they all say homophobic things to kind of blend in.
Yeah.
And then one of them starts to feel, you know what, I don't really agree with this. And so 7th grade is like developmentally where he might start to speak out, or he might experiment with, you know, finding a different group that better aligns with him.
Yeah.
And so this is a very like crucial moment, I think, to introduce this thinking and say like, you know, it's okay to think exactly what you're thinking. And if something doesn't feel right to you, you should follow what feels right and what makes you happy.
I feel like I need this book tomorrow for my daughter.
Oh my God, thank you.
I'm not even
it's on sale now.
I know. I'm gonna go get it. Is it there's a Barnes and Noble right by me on my way home.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We're gonna all go get that. All of us. But yeah, my daughter is like, we're at this point where she's starting to make decisions that that wasn't a wise one. That wasn't a good idea. And I don't want to say too much because it'll embarrass her, but I need this. And then I need to read it with her. And then we need to talk about things.
Oh my God, I love this endorsement. Thank you.
I think you're about to say where people can get it and stuff. Let's go to that. And this will all be in the show notes as well. So everybody, yeah. But go ahead and tell us all the places and all the things.
Wow. It's available wherever books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Bookshop, your local auntie.
That was amazing. And
okay, cool.
That's going to be a clip on social because that is the best endorsement of your own book I've ever done. That's what I should have done when I had my book out.
Yeah, it's all about that 3/4.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. You know already. I don't need to coach you. You got this.
No, you probably do. I'm really bad with the pictures. I can do it in the mirror, but then I mess up in the pictures. Anyway, it's amazing. And I love that you wrote this. And I love that you are so conscious of growth and children's minds, and that you're doing the work that is not always appreciated, especially showing up as your true, authentic self doing this work. And I think it's important. And I think it's important for our children to see people who don't fit the norm, to see drag. Like, there's no harm in this at all. I'm preaching to the choir here because everybody who listens is going to be in agreement with me. But all of this is so important, and inclusion matters, and diversity, equity, and accessibility all matter as well. Big time.
I agree. And I think especially at that age, it's kind of like seeing is believing. And I just remember growing up, I was very sensitive to media because I spent so much time with a screen that a lot of the Asian Americans I saw on screen, you too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was a latchkey kid.
Totally.
A lot of TV show watching.
Yeah, me too. That was way over my head too. Like, I watched some like teen content and they were talking about like all this. I shouldn't have been watching that. Anyways.
No, I was watching. I was just talking with my friend about the shows we watched and how inappropriate everything was. But it was like, oh yeah, that's a good family show. No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Not so much.
Yeah.
But I guess we turned out okay.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
But like, I watched a lot of media, and in the early aughts, being Asian American was kind of like the butt of every joke. And it was like, it's because he's a nerd. It's because he doesn't speak English. And he's like killing a chicken on the sidewalk. How wild. And I guess what I walked away with is this understanding that the point of me being around was to be humiliated. And, you know, as an adult with some space, I can distance myself from that. But as a kid who's developing, coming into my sense of self, it really affected me. And it made me feel like I couldn't be the main character of my own story, and that I should aspire to whiteness. And so I had a really complicated journey with race at the same time that I was coming out. And there were these huge, complex things that I had to negotiate at a time when I didn't have the language to. One of the main themes, or the central themes of this, is this story that I wrote, the book, is coming to terms with one's Chinese American identity, seeing positive representations in his grandma, who entered a pageant and did a Chinese fan dance and is really proud of what she did in like a predominantly white Southern town, and how your racial difference can feel like such a blemish, can feel like something that needs to be fixed or hidden. And it takes a lot of strength and a lot of time with yourself and a lot of patience to reinterpret this as beautiful and as a strength. And I know that might sound kind of basic, but at that age, it's not. It's really not. Isn't.
And it's everything at that age. Yes. That's beautifully put and so true. So everybody needs to go out and get this book. And if you have tiny kids, just get it for when they're older. We can do that too.
Well, thank you, team.
Because we need to support all the queer creators, especially the ones who are doing the good work. I mean, we're all doing the good work, right? Let's be real.
Yes, we are. Truly.
Yeah. And then what about the film? Can folks watch this film or like...
So right now we're submitting to festivals and we're in the festival circuit. So we don't have distribution yet. But if you're a distributor and you're listening, give me a call.
Seriously.
But it's gotten into 4 Academy Award qualifying festivals. And if it wins a grand jury award at one of these festivals, then it becomes Oscar eligible.
What?
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
It's so cool. Listen, when I got the email, you have so many accolades. Like I couldn't read them all. It's like 2 pages worth of like awards and grants and da-da-da and da-da-da. That's amazing.
Thank you. We've worked really hard on it.
Yeah. And you deserve all the things for it. I want to see this film. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It won a special jury award at Florida Film Festival. We're hoping it gets some more awards, so it catches some attention. And the North Star of this project is to turn it into a debut feature film. So,
oh my God, that's amazing.
Would be the dream.
We need all that queer representation, and we need queer joy representation too. We need, it's not always a hardship. It's actually
pretty
awesome.
I'm glad you brought that up because I talked to a lot of middle graders and as research for the book, I was asking them, what kind of characters do you want to see? What kind of stories? What do you not want to see? And all of them uniformly were like, we want to see a happy story.
Right?
That's it. Yes. And I was like, what kind of stories do you watch? And they said Heartstopper. And initially, Heartstopper didn't resonate with me. As a millennial, I thought it was overwrought. I thought it was like saccharine, and I just couldn't access it. And I realized it's because all of the stories that I consumed as a millennial were about hardship. And it was about, like getting through this crucible of like youth to come to terms with yourself and really accept yourself. Yeah. And that's just doesn't resonate with today's generation. And that's fine.
Yeah.
And so that's part of why I wrote the story I did, to be like, okay, let's practice just joy. And I think what I realized from the process is it's not enough to just be reactive and to just be like, discrimination, prejudice, like this is how I overcame that. And that's the formula. We also need to just imagine what the world we want is and what it looks like. Yeah. Just being happy.
Exercise that more. And quite possibly that can be what changes the world for the better.
Yeah.
The queer imagination.
100.
We need to cultivate that queer imagination. You know what's so funny? I just interviewed a gay couple who made a film, and it's like a real film in movie theaters now.
Oh, wow.
And the first half of it is all about their journey to adoption. And it's such queer joy. And they just happen to be a gay couple, but it's not about the fact that they're gay, right? Like, which I love. And then it turns into a dark comedy and like people get murdered and shit. But but that's also like, I know it gets really dark, but I still recommend it. But also what I loved about it was not only that we're just watching a story and this couple happens to be gay and we're seeing them in love and we're seeing it was so real, like this relationship. And then, but also I love the fact that it was also a dark comedy. Yeah. Cause we can be in those too. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
We need those shades.
Yes. Because it's real, because we're real and we're multifaceted, just like, we exist and we're real people. And flawed. And sometimes murder people. I was like, oh my God, what is happening?
I mean, that's one of the reasons I made the short too, is because when the media came around, I felt this insane pressure to just sit as like the perfect victim and be like, yes, like I read to kids and like I've never touched drugs in my life and I am like perfect and like, and then they wronged me. And it's just like, how boring.
Right.
And also unrealistic. And it's like, I shouldn't have to be that in order to, I don't know, gain your respect or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, they make a martyr out of you, but we're all flawed. We all have our truths and we're not perfect at all.
Right.
Yeah. And the more we can humanize all aspects and use that queer imagination to imagine a wonderful, beautiful world where all folks coexist in harmony. I don't even know where I was going with that, but I think it's resonating.
Yes, period. Very that.
Yeah. Seriously, though, I think you need to keep on creating all this stuff. And I really hope that your film gets into the big theaters and wins an award. That would be,
I would love that.
Amazing. I want to watch you say a speech on that stage.
And thank you to Queer Family Podcast for making this happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Just give me all of the reason for why you won the award. I will take that. Because I did grow up in San Francisco too. So, same.
Yes, we have that. We have a little thing going on.
Yeah. Are you doing Drag Story Hour at all?
I am, yeah.
Oh, you're still doing it?
Yes, still doing it. They can't keep me down. I have one on June 21st. I'm doing them a little further and farther between because I have to write. But yeah, I have it happen every now and then.
Okay, so we'll come see you or we'll just come. Are you performing as well?
I'm doing less performing, but, I grab a gig every now and then.
All right. Well, I'll be in touch when we come to San Francisco.
Yeah, let's hang.
Yeah, that would be fun. And then we have to find out who our mutual friends are because I know we have them. I know we do. I know.
Yeah, they're out there.
Oh my God, this has been awesome. Kyle, I love you. Keep doing all the good stuff.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And happy upcoming Pride Month. Woo!
It's Pride. When this airs, it's Pride, and you are in the Pride Extravaganza.
Yes. Well, happy Pride, everyone.
Yes, happy Pride. And go share that queer joy, y'all. Queer imagination and queer joy. That's what it's all about. I love it.
Queer Family Podcast.
Before we say goodbye, I just want to say one last thank you to our sponsor, California Cryobank. What you're going to want to do is use code QueerFam25 to get you a free level 2 subscription to their donor catalog. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, California Cryobank.
Love is love.
Whew. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, feel free to listen to another or watch another. I have so many episodes for your listening or viewing pleasure. Just go pick one and enjoy. There's a lot. There really is. And also, if you really do like this show, please, I know I say it all the time, but please do consider supporting the show on Patreon. You're just going to go to patreon.com/The Queer Family Podcast. You're going to pick a tier, you're going to join, and you're going to get that bonus content. And you're also going to get my love and adoration for the rest of my life. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Keep on tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.